So here we have, I'm massaging it in. Now you can actually do the same on the other side. I do the top and the bottom. Again, not too much. You don't want to make it too salty. A little bit of olive oil. Remember, you've got a very large bird. Don't want too much oil, but the olive oil will give it a nice crispiness. Okay. Now, if you do this on the sink, that's fine too. That way you don't transfer all the salt. Okay, so what I've got is a well massaged bird, and I would use both hands. I'm just, using my... All right, so I'm going to take that glove off. Now I'm going to have sticky fingers. All right, so now I have a bird in the pan. All right. Now, what you don't want to do is have a burned top. And remember, your turkey will have much more of a top to it, probably. You don't want to have a burned top, wings, or chicken or legs, right? You don't want to have the burned bits. So hang on one sec, and I'm going to just wash my hands. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. Washed my hands. I've got a dishcloth next to me. I'll put that one in the rubbish bin. Okay, so what we've got now is a scenario where we've got to ensure that we don't burn parts of it. Now, the way I do that is I take baking paper. If you don't have baking paper, get some. And I just put it a piece over the top for the first half of the cooking time. I just put it over the top. If there's a problem with holding it there, use a toothpick and just hold it there like that. Now, the same with the legs and potentially the wings. The wings you could almost just, you could almost wrap or put aside. Just depends. You're going to have to decide on that. But with the legs, I'll, in the case of this chicken, I would have just put a whole piece of paper over it. But with the turkey, it gets a bit sort of odd, and it might splay out. This one is splaying a little bit too, right? So what we can do there is, in the, the good old Americans like their twine. So I like twine too. So get a bit of twine, a bit of string, not plastic for God's sake. That will just be disgusting because it'll burn. And then take it around. In fact, I'll put a box there. Can you see that? Maybe not as low as... there you go. So just tie the legs together. Just not too tight. And this can get cut off at the end. Okay. Got electricians here putting lights in under the new pergola, and the door's banging a bit. Okay, so you can tie them together, which is actually a good idea. And if you really, I'm just looking, the tail, depending how big the tail is, you could almost tie the tail in with it as well. And if the tail is just too big, you don't want it draped over the bottom of the pan because it can burn as well. So you can just put a bit of twine underneath the tail, if you can see that. Alright, so I've got it under there, and you can tie it onto where the legs are as well, and that just holds everything. Get rid of the excess. I'll just shut that door, hang on. So there we have the bird. It's got the oil over it. I've tied up the legs. I've put a piece of paper there. I've secured it with a bit of, because the heat will make the paper move around, but it should stick. But anyway, a toothpick doesn't. If you've got one, that's great. If you don't worry about it. Just check on it. And then if the legs are not covered, take another piece of paper and, you know, another piece of, because you don't want to cover too much, but just enough so that those top bits do not burn. All right, so they're secured. So now we have a bird ready to go into the oven. Now, if you do this, prepare it tonight or soon. Have it in the fridge. Bring it out. Let it warm up as much as you can while the oven is preheating. Preheat your oven to, I don't know the Fahrenheit, but it'll be about, you know, 200 Celsius. Make it nice hot oven, because the first half hour of cooking should be in a good hot oven, because what that does is it just heats everything up, and then you turn it down a little bit to about 180, I think, or 100, yeah, about 180, and so you've now got a situation where you're not going to have a burnt turkey on the top. Now, I don't put vegetables around it. I do the vegetables separate, so I'm not really familiar with what you do when you've got vegetables, so you're going to have to make that decision yourself. Personally, roast vegetables, I like to do them in a saucepan or in a separate pan or whatever. Or, you know me, I like things tend to be steamed or boiled anyway. But once you've got this, you've done this the night before, you bring it out. Don't worry about covering it with Glad wrap or anything, because a little bit of drying out of the skin is a good thing. Otherwise you've got, you know, it's a very wet bird. That's why you should dry it at the beginning. Now, what we need to do is pretend that we've just brought it out in the morning, the oven is preheated, and what you're going to do is before you put it in, I've made a combination of red and white wine, couldn't decide, it's just out of the box, nothing special. Don't spend a lot of money on the wine that you put in. And I just put it at the bottom. Put it at the bottom of the pan, just over the paper. And this is something through the cooking time, just top it up with a bit of water. The wine just gives it that little bit of fragrance more than anything. So don't worry about basting it to start with, and then just put it in the oven. Just put it in the oven and cook it. Do the first half hour, 45 minutes, really hot, and then turn it down. If it's dried up at the bottom, put some more water in. Maybe if you want, take a bit of, you know, a spoon and put it over the bird. That's up to you. But when you put that little bit of water, extra water in, I generally just pour it over the top of the bird, and then just let it do your cooking time. I might send another little bit of a backup of what to do when you're cooking. I've just seen a little feather there, and I'm just plucking it out. Sometimes you see the last little bits of the feathers, often on the tail. Okay, I've just got that. I'm go and wash my hands. I hope this has been helpful, and I really hope you have a lovely Thanksgiving. Send me any questions and I'll post this to Instagram or something. I'll work something out. Thanks. Love you. Happy Thanksgiving.